Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. So I was super inspired watching Jaclyn Hill's Assumptions video, reacting to your assumptions about her, and I thought we need to do it here. It's a super old idea. It's been going around for like years, but I've never done it. I've always been afraid. But over on Instagram, I asked you guys to send me your assumptions, things that you assume about me, and I'm going to be reacting / answering those assumptions in today's video while just getting ready with some of my favourite products that you guys have asked me to use, products that I've just been loving lately are kind of some of my favourites of the moment. So I'm going to be using my new shade in the Tom Ford Soft Matte Foundation, the shade Sepia, see how we go with that one. I'm going to be bringing out the Natasha Denona Bronze palette, which kind of got skipped over because so many other palettes quickly came out after that one. I'm going to be using the blush out of this palette because we didn't use the blush in the last video. My favourite highlight, the Guerlain Terracotta Nude, which I haven't used on camera for a while. Likewise, the Gucci bronzer, which I am still loving. And I'm going to be using one of my favourite Lisa Eldridge shades on my lips because her lipsticks are back. They're coming back. They're either coming back or they're back, depending when this video goes up. So we want to check that one out. And also the Mer powder that I ordered is now here. So we're going to be trying that one for the first time, along with the Sonia G Smooth Buffer, which has finally arrived from Beautylish. So yeah, we're going to be trying some new, some old, but all loved products while I answer your assumptions. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I've got a giveaway going on over there at the moment, so make sure you hop over there and enter that giveaway and follow me for all the latest news, reviews, daily makeup looks and new products that come out, as well as the occasional giveaway. So without further ado, let's get started. I was so nervous, let me tell you, about doing this. Like my whole being was saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Especially having obviously watched Jaclyn Hill's. Obviously, Jaclyn's slightly more controversial of a character than me, but hers was pretty brutal in places. I was like thinking, oh my God, how's this gonna go? But you guys were, I shouldn't have worried, should I? You guys were super gentle and kind with me, like always. So let's get started. So I'm not gonna be saying who assumed what about me, because I don't think that's fair without your permission to say what your assumption was. I forgot to ask. Usually I ask like whether you guys mind me, you know, putting a screenshot of your comment or your Instagram handle, but I forgot to ask, so I'm just not going to, just in case someone minds me doing that. So the first assumption is a bit like a walnut whip, tough exterior, soft on the inside, but a bit nutty and crazy funny. I'm definitely super sensitive inside, and for sure I am like a softie, 100%. I don't necessarily think I'm like, I have a hard exterior or anything like that. I just think the nature, I guess, of YouTube, it can kind of look that way because I think I'm a very straightforward talker. Like I say what I mean in as few words as possible. That's kind of my personality and the way that I speak. I am very straightforward and straight to the point. So I guess when you're on YouTube and you're just doing videos, then it may obviously come across that way, but that's not really me. I am a very soft, kind, caring kind of person, both internally and externally in like my normal life, I guess. I think you're a very kind person who can be tough also. I think that's pretty accurate, honestly. I am definitely a very kind person. But yeah, for sure I can be tough. I can be tough in my job. I can be tough with my kids. So yeah, I definitely have it in me to, you know, lay down the law if needs be. Have a very sharp wit. You know, it's funny with like my sense of humor or the sort of way that I banter like with my friends and stuff. Obviously, when I grew up an athlete, I grew up around other athletes. I spent all of my time with my training group. I was a swimmer, for those of you who don't know. So I spent like literally all day, every day, training with my training group, who were pretty much all men. And anyone who's been around that environment, obviously now I work in that environment, again, very heavily male dominated, and that's like the banter is brutal. Like banter in the sports world, especially in the male dominated section of the like elite performing sports world, it's like we banter each other, we, you know, rip the mickey out of each other, it's brutal. That's like how we are. So that's definitely like kind of my people, my personality, my sense of humor, and I guess it's maybe not as common in other sectors of the world, but in sport, you know, it's full of banter, full of brutalizing each other, and just like, you know, that's how we love each other. I guess, you know, it's probably true. You have to, you know, keep up or keep out. That's kind of how the sports world is in all aspects. So I'm using my Natasha Denona Bronze palette. You guys have asked me about this because obviously it's kind of been superseded by the Glam palette and a couple of other palettes, the Charlotte Tilbury, that have come out since this one. But yeah, still love it, still beautiful, still one of my favourite go-to kind of everyday palettes. I'm going to use the beach shade down here, then I'm going to deepen that up with Suntan, and then we're going to use Palladium and Silk. You guys were asking me for like how you do a kind of softer everyday look with this palette, and this is kind of my go-to look with this palette for like softer days. So Bron, I know she won't mind me saying her name, says, I think you secretly like a pie and mushy peas. Oh, no, that is definitely not. A pie, absolutely. Pie of any flavour is okay by me. Sweet, savoury, apart from a steak and kidney, that's just no can do. But a mushy pea, oh no, that is categorically a no. You're living a wealthy lifestyle. I mean, I think the thing is, when people sort of talk about money or like how well off you are or are not in these Q&As, it's one of these things, you know, obviously it's subjective. I don't think the Queen would think I was living a wealthy lifestyle, but at the same time, it's so subjective, isn't it? Like, I don't really know how to answer that. I certainly feel very lucky. I certainly know we're very lucky and we're very comfortable, and, you know, we have everything we want and need, and therefore I feel certainly that my life is very wealthy, as in I have a lot of love. I have my family. I'm very lucky with the support I have. I have a beautiful home. I have, you know, all the things I could possibly need or ask for in my life from a non kind of materialistic sense. I mean, lifestyle to me means something different. So to me, a wealthy lifestyle is like, you know, parading around on yachts, going to red carpet events, which that's definitely not my lifestyle. But would I say that I am blessed and secure financially and have everything that I need or want in my life? Yes. So I think, again, it depends what your definition of that is. But yeah, I'm certainly super lucky and blessed and aware of that. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one to answer really without knowing, you know, what your definition is. I read somewhere once that if you have eaten 3 meals a day for the past 6 days, then you're in the top 15% as far as wealth, like in the world. And I think that's a really humbling statistic to think about. In that perspective, I'm richer than I ever need to be, and that's certainly something that puts things into perspective. I think that kind of statistic, when you think about it and you think about complaining or something you don't have or you would like to have or things like that, and then you think about, you know, actually, if you have a roof over your head and food to eat, you're richer than most. You're actually the funniest out of all of your friends. Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. I hang around with a funny bunch of people, let me tell you. Like I said earlier, everyone I know is hilarious. We all bounce off each other, me and my friendship group. And, you know, the heart of everything about us is our banter, and we, you know, tease each other and we rib each other and we joke, and, you know, we have lots of private jokes and that kind of thing. And it's just, you know, when we get together, we have an absolute howl and a hoot. So yeah, I would definitely say for sure no. I'm definitely averagely funny when it comes to the people I hang around with. I had a lot of people assuming I was kind, which I really appreciate, because I certainly am someone who tries to always be kind and lead everything with kindness, and that's not always easy. You can be tested, especially here on social media and things like that, to always kind of respond with kindness. But yeah, I certainly strive to always be kind and to always lead with kindness and think with kindness, even if it's not necessarily always being reciprocated. Next up, you forgive quickly. This is a yes and no, a yes and a definitely no for me. Like, if little things like, you know, as in you didn't call me back, or you know, you haven't messaged me for a week or something, you know, that sort of thing. You forgot my birthday, for sure. Those types of things, for sure, I forgive quickly. Things that I like take more seriously, definitely not. Do you know, like, loyalty is so important to me, and if I like start to think that you aren't loyal, or I don't mean that much to you, or I don't mean as much to you as you do to me, or, you know, I just don't matter to you, or whatever, I'm definitely someone who like will be done. Like, I'm definitely, the older I've got, the less I care to be constantly giving people second chances or keep people in my life who I really don't feel are contributing positively to it. I'm pretty cutthroat in that way. So I feel like once you've let me down, or once you've shown me that I'm not important, or I'm not as important as I thought, or as important as you are to me, I tend to like shut the door. I've definitely been burned in my life, and that kind of influences things like relationships and friendships, where, you know, I've kind of felt blindsided and felt let down, rejected, those kinds of things. And therefore, I really don't let people into the inner sanctum, like, ever. Like, I have, you know, sort of, I'd say less than 20 people, and that's including my family, my children, including everybody. There's probably less than 20 people who I would say I love, and those people I love with my whole heart, soul, you know, would lose a limb for, that kind of level of love. And then outside of that, everybody else is like acquaintances. And it's incredibly hard to move from one box to another in my life. It takes a long time, a lot of trust and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, once you break that, you go back into the other category and you'll never make it back out. That's kind of how I live. I either love you with like my heart and soul and you're everything to me, or you're nothing. I mean, that's a bit harsh, nothing, but you see what I mean. I'm sure you see what I'm saying. You're either in or you're out. I don't have like a middle ground for people, because I can't trust people who aren't like fully in, and I feel that and know that they're fully in. Do you know what I mean? You don't take anyone's SHIT. That's true to an extent. I'm definitely not a confrontational person. Like, I would avoid confrontation wherever possible. However, if you were to bring confrontation to me, or you were to say something that was offensive to me, or do something, you know, towards someone in my family or something like that, then that would be a mistake. I've definitely got like the fire for protecting my family. I'm super protective of my family, my kids, my sister, my mum and dad, my husband, and it's definitely like that lioness, you know, is within me, and I don't ever want to get in a confrontation with anyone. It's just not in my nature whatsoever to like get involved in drama or fights. That's just not me at all. But again, if someone wants to fight with me, then they would be sorry about it. then I will certainly like defend myself, and certainly I can stick up for myself. Don't you worry about that. You're a dedicated mother and wife. You have a great heart and care about unity. That's so sweet. Thank you so much. That's such a lovely one. I certainly like to think so. I'm definitely, like I said, I am certainly a very committed and dedicated person to everybody that I love. So that's friends, family, you know, certainly obviously my kids and my husband are my whole being. They are the absolute world. I live, die, ride for them. So yeah, I'd certainly agree with that. Absolutely. You are tall. I mean, I don't know what your definition of tall is, but I did spend like a few years of my adult life thinking I was like 5'9". And I think the reason for that is that I remembered being like measured at school, like having my height measured at school. And I think I was like 5'6", and I was probably, I don't know, like 13, 14. So, and then since then, I mean, I don't know about you guys or where you're from, but you really don't get your height measured here in the UK when you're an adult. I just don't know when you ever doing that. So unless you kind of go and do it yourself, you will never really know how tall you are. So I think I just kind of made the assumption that I was like, I must have grown a few inches since then. So I must be about 5'9". So people would ask me how tall I was, and I would say, you know, 5'9", 5'8", maybe. And actually, that's not true. I haven't really grown since my teen years. So I was tall when I was a teenager, but now I'm pretty averagely heighted. I'm averagely heighted. I think I'm like 5'7", maybe 5'7.5". So I wouldn't say that's tall, but remember, I live in the land of the giants. Like, again, I used to think I was fairly tall, and then I started working with the England netball team and quite quickly realised that I wasn't tall. Those ladies are tall. But yeah, I guess I spent my whole life around athletes, so that may be taller than some. I'm obviously not petite, but I would say I'm pretty averagely height. Why do I keep saying heighted? I'm of pretty average height, I would say, at 5'7", maybe 5'7.5". Pretty average in my world anyway. I don't know about yours. My daughter is super tall. She's like the tallest in her class by like some way. Like, you see her and her friends in her class and you think she must be in the wrong class, but she's actually one of the youngest in there because she's an April baby. And there's lots of kids in her class who are September, October, and they're like way shorter than her. So I don't know where she's got that from. A couple of people who said something along the lines of, you spend all your money on makeup. Definitely not. Definitely not. You know me, you know I'm super sensible. I am not the one to be going out spending all of my money on makeup. Obviously it's my hobby and I spend some of my money on makeup. Certainly not all of my money. I mean, most of my money goes on like boring stuff like bills and things like that. But yeah, definitely not even close to all of my money on makeup. That's just not, I'm very sensible when it comes to money, and I'm not someone who would ever feel comfortable like spending all my money on stuff like that, or clothes either. You know, I buy a decent amount of clothes. Obviously I buy a lot of makeup each month, but at the same time that's mostly because of my channel. Like I said to you guys before, if I didn't have a channel, I probably would never buy makeup again. I'm definitely not like a makeup addict or someone who needs to buy every latest release. I actually get very stressed, and you guys have probably seen when I do like my makeup collection, I don't have like half as much as you might think or compared to other YouTubers, because I just couldn't take that. Like, it would stress me out having that much in my house. I have to be very minimal, and you know, I keep what I love, the rest I get rid of or I share with friends or, you know, whatever. I can't have that much or I'll get stressed about it. But yeah, I certainly don't spend over my means. I know I've said to you guys before, I don't accrue any debt. I don't have any credit cards. I don't have any store cards, nothing like that. My only debt is my mortgage. I've even paid off my student loans, which is like a miracle these days. So yeah, no, I'm certainly living well within my means, because that's just how I am. I'm very boring. This next one is interesting because this person said you're very type A, which is definitely not the case. But I can see why you might think that. Like I said earlier, when you only sort of see me on YouTube, it's very hard to kind of gather a sense of someone's personality. Now, I do a lot of like personality profiling in my work, and as far as like the type A/B personality, that doesn't really, I just don't think that really works, because, you know, trying to fit everybody into A or B is just ridiculous to me. So yeah, I do a lot of personality profiling in my job, both on myself and on the athletes that I work with. It's a very big part of my job. So I'm very experienced in personality profiling, and my favorite of the like personality tools, profiling tools, is the Myers-Briggs. If you're familiar with personality profiling, I feel like it's simple enough the way it breaks everything down, but it has 16 personality types that you could be. So it's also like, it's kind of, it's straightforward and simple, and it's easy to understand and to explain to people, but it kind of gives you enough options, and it's in-depth enough to actually kind of cover, you know, the majority of people, to as much as these things ever can, to kind of give you more of an accurate idea. So in the Myers-Briggs scale, for anyone who's familiar with that, I would be an ISFJ, which makes me an introverted, sensing, feeling judger. And I think the description of that one is a nurturer, I think. And the key characteristics of this personality type, it says they enjoy structure and strive to maintain this order in all areas of their lives. Check. Tend to be introverted. Check. Tend to be quiet, keen observers, and focused on other people. Because they are so perceptive, ISFJs are good at remembering details about other people, and those with this personality type are particularly well tuned into the emotions and feelings of others, good at understanding emotion, fair concrete facts over theories, that's true, tend to be protective, reliable, practical, sensitive with an eye for detail. Weaknesses: avoids confrontation, dislikes change, neglects own needs, and dislikes abstract concepts. So yes, that's all very accurate. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't say that I fit the definitions that I've read of a type A personality, but that's not kind of my favorite like personality profiling. The just type A, type B, like it's just not wide enough. Like, I'm sure there are parts of my personality that would fit type A, but there's also a lot that would be in B as well. But yeah, I like the Myers-Briggs scale. I think it's much more accurate, and it kind of works for way more people, and it certainly is pretty accurate for me, that one. You're an only child. I am not. No, categorically not. I am the younger of two sisters. I have a sister who is a few years older than me, and yeah, so definitely incorrect with that one. That you love horses. I do. I grew up with horses. It was very hard. We always had horses when I was growing up. I had my own horses. I had a few actually. I started off with a Shetland pony, and then I had an Arab cross. I had a Shire cross at one point. Like, I never really competed. I was never like a pony clubber or anything like that. I just used to love hacking really, and galloping. We used to go on the gallops a lot. That was kind of all I wanted to do. I just loved the freedom of it. I think as a teenager, especially, being able to just take your horse and ride off, and you're allowed to go on your own, you know, that's priceless really for a teenager. Especially me, I grew up in a very small village in the country, and you know, that was like my freedom, my independence, my thinking time, just you and the horse, just out wandering the lanes for hours, going into the fields that you weren't meant to be in till the farmer yelled at you. Yes, absolutely right. I love horses. I don't really ride much anymore. We got to an age when I I can't remember what age I was when we had to give up the horses, but essentially it got to the place where I couldn't continue to ride and everything that goes along with keeping horses and manage my swimming, because I was just away so much, competing so much all of the time. And obviously horses are very time consuming. They need a lot of care, attention and time. And it just got to the point where swimming was too much to do both. So that was, yeah, super sad. And I'd still, you know, my kids occasionally go riding. Maybe in the future we could have horses again, but yeah, it's just with the time, and now kids are in school and they're just kind of figuring out what it is they are going to be passionate about, you know, whether it's a sport, whether it's riding, whether it's a different hobby. So yeah, I mean, if that's what they wanted to do, we could all start riding again regularly, but yeah, I just really want them to figure out what it is that they want to do, as opposed to it being what I'd like them to do. You feel sad lately? You know, it's interesting because I know I did post about like feeling sad because I'm missing my kids. Obviously, my little boy has just started school. He turned 4, and obviously in the UK, kids start school at 4. So although he'd always gone to preschool like a couple of days a week, I did have me and him 3 days of the week. It was just me and him. It was just me and him. So yeah, and then obviously with lockdown, I had my daughter and my son home all day, every day for like 6 months. So then it was obviously quite a shock when they went back to school, and then my little boy then, you know, fully started school for the first time ever. From them being home full time, it was quite a shock. And I know, you know, I've talked about this whenever I talk about feeling sad, missing my kids, them being at school, people just don't want to hear it. I notice. I think it's much more normal for people to be like, yes, thank God school's back, you know, because I know like it's hard work and it can be tough with the kids at home, like summer holidays. I know lots of people really struggle, but that's not me. I don't. I love my kids being home. I'd have them home all the time. I have considered homeschooling them, but honestly, that would be for me and not for them. They're just not homeschool kids. Like, they're both so social. They both love school so much, and I know that if I kept them home and homeschooled them, it would be what I wanted and not what would make them happy and be the best for them specifically. They're just not homeschool type of kids. So yeah, I just think that's, you know, if you're picking up on that, yes, I have been a little bit sad. It's nothing that deep. Well, it is deep, I guess. It's just that it's a big change, isn't it? And it's a big time of your life when I'm used to having at least one of my children home, and now they both are at school. It's a lot, you know, they go from being home so much to being gone so much that it is super sad. And it does obviously take like some getting used to, which it is sad. So yeah, I have been feeling a bit sad and really missing them. I just think a lot of people don't understand that way of thinking and think that you'll get over it, soon you'll learn to love it. But that's just not me. I just miss them all of the time. Always have done. And always will do. I am just a weirdo that way. Like, I would have them, like I said, I'd have them home all day, every day, if I could, if it was up to me. And I don't think there's anything wrong with appreciating, you know, the free time, the time to yourself, but it does annoy me when people tell me I'm going to change, or I'm going to, oh, you won't feel that way when this happens. Oh, soon you'll get over that. Oh, you'll soon be loving it. And I'm like, why? Why are you expecting me to change who I am? Are you going to suddenly start hating it? No, we're all different, and that's fine. I think I hate mum shaming. And I hate just people assuming we're all the same, or we all have to feel the same about things, when we are obviously so different in lots of ways, and that's okay. So yeah, I have definitely been a little bit sad lately, but you know, I'll be okay. I'm just missing my babies. You only buy / love luxury makeup. It's pretty true. I think when I first started my channel, I was kind of making the move across to luxury makeup, and I was still using a bit of drugstore here and there. But yeah, I think it is true. I am a luxury makeup lover. Obviously everyone has their own preferences. Some people do a bit of both, which is kind of what I used to do. But yeah, I've definitely slowly moved across to pretty much only ever using luxury makeup. It's just what I prefer. It's what gives me joy. I love everything about it. And yeah, that's just who I am. Always on your guard emotionally because of past hurt and hate comments. I mean, I'm definitely always on my guard. I am a very, like, my walls are fully up. Like, I don't really, like I said earlier, I don't really let new people in, certainly not easily. And I am, like, wary of new people and people that I don't know very well. I am super protective of my heart is what I would say. That's kind of, you know, the way that I am. But having said that, I mean, that's definitely nothing to do with hate comments. I've always said on my channel, there's no way I will ever change like who I am or be affected for longer than a few minutes by hate comments. If I felt like that was the case, that's the day I would delete my channel. It's definitely more so to do with like my life experiences with, you know, my divorce, like friendships and things like that, that I have certainly become just more protective with my heart is how I would put it. I am super protective of myself, my space, my friends, my family, and our hearts. So yeah, I'm definitely guarded. I'm definitely a tough nut to crack, I would say. But yeah, it's definitely not to do with hate comments. I've definitely got better, like with some advice from my friends here on YouTube and just like kind of a trial and error type of situation. I've definitely got better at making sure I don't see a lot of negative comments. Like there's different things that you can do to make sure that you don't really see that many comments. Like I've come out of my comments now, I only really go in my comments for the first couple of hours on each new video, and then I swiftly exit stage left. So that's when you kind of get those kind of comments popping up. Or on older videos, people who obviously aren't subscribed to you, who don't necessarily like you, they obviously don't necessarily find you straight away. So those are the older comments. A lot of them get filtered out. I no longer go in my health review box, which I did used to, because a lot of comments get accidentally filtered. So I used to go and check if there was any of those, but I don't do that anymore. And yeah, I've kind of narrowed down when I look at my comments. But I mean, no hate comment, rude comment, troll comment, negative comment, whatever you want to call it, has ever like stayed in my head or my heart for more than like an hour tops. They're definitely used to, you know, when you're not used to them, they can sting you initially, but that's about it. Like I certainly don't dwell on them. They don't affect my life. They certainly don't affect my future. So there you have it. I'm really sorry if I didn't get to your assumption. I tried to answer like the most popular, commonly asked one. Thank you so much for joining in if you sent me an assumption about me. This was super fun and you guys were super gentle. So thank you for that. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye, 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 bye.